Okay, peeps, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about TSLA and TSLY price analysis and potential upside. Let's get it. So the first thing I want to mention is I don't know if you guys have seen some of the comments, but you'll see some comments in here talking about, oh, this person made a lot of money, or go to this person's Telegram, WhatsApp, whatever. Guys, don't do it. Okay, look, these people are scam artists. They're going to come up with different creative ways to try to get your money. They're going to ask you to give them money to basically trade for you, and they're going to take your money. They're not going to make any money for you. It's a scam. I've seen it before. Don't fall for these kinds of things. We have tried to delete some of these comments, but unfortunately, there's only so much we can do. So we're spreading awareness to you guys so you guys know that this is a thing. Again, please don't fall for these traps. These people are scammers, and they will try to take your money. So anyways, let's get into the content. So as you guys can see here, this is our largest holdings in TSLY. Our average share price is $16.97. We're at $12.99. Initially, we were not going to pick up any more TSLY, but to be honest, it's actually kind of looking pretty appealing right now in terms of price. Got to be honest, I wasn't expecting it to go down this much, but Powell did recently come out and say like, oh yeah, we're going to keep rates higher for longer, and the markets didn't like that, and so they, sold off. It's pretty much what they did. So for those of you guys who are in a drawdown right now, you guys can see that we are down about a couple grand, but the dividends offset some of that, so it's actually only about 1,200. Again, I've said it time and again, September is always bearish. You guys saw so in the last video that I made about CLIP. So probably at the beginning of October, maybe around the middle of October, we're expecting the markets to kind of turn around and start moving back to the upside. Because again, September is bearish seasonality, and October to December is bullish seasonality. So that should give you some perspective on our current holdings. If we pop over here to Robinhood for our other TSLY holdings, you guys can see we're also down quite a bit on this. We picked up about 49 shares worth at this price, so we basically did a bulk buy because we thought that was a good deal. Apparently it was going to go down lower, so we didn't realize that, and we might actually buy some more as a result. So you guys can basically see that we are down. If I click on the maximum here, we're down about basically 36%, or I guess about $7.19. I'm not really sure how accurate that dollar amount is, but just go ahead and go with it. So saying that, and then down here you got $90. So again, not entirely sure. That's part of the reason why we choose to invest in diversify among these funds, because as you can see, some of them are up on the day and some of them are down on the day. So that's kind of that. So now that we've taken a look at our portfolio, you guys can see that you're not the only ones that are down. We're also down. We're going to take a look at the price chart of Tesla. So as you guys can see, it has had a little bit of a pullback here, pretty much right into this uptrending support line here. We are still sitting on the support, so if it bounces from here, we will be going back up to these highs at 300, maybe all the way up to 414, 415. So from this point back to the previous high, you're taking a look at about a 30% gain, all the way back up to the all-time highs after the stock split, about an 80% gain. So there's a lot of upside here. The downside, of course, we always got to probably want to take a look at that. So down to the bottom of the support level, you're talking minus 18%, back down to this macro trend line. I would say roughly around 46 to as much as maybe 52%. So the upside is much more than the downside at this point. So on the weekly, you guys can see that the RSI did have a death cross, and so did the MACD, but we're still technically in bullish territory because we're above break even here. And if I go out to the monthly, which is something I don't typically often look at, but I can actually get it to pull up the monthly for me. It's not wanting to do it for some reason. There we go. So the monthly gives a whole different kind of picture here. So you guys can basically see we're still sitting at break even. We were in bear territory, and now on the monthly we're sitting firmly in bull territory. We had the golden cross. The idea is we'll move up from here. And same thing with the RSIs. And the price is holding on this micro trend line here, and it just keeps bouncing off of it on the monthly time frame. And we did break above this downtrend during the previous year's bull or bear market. So that is the technicals for Tesla. So the most recent payout for Tesla was 59 cents roughly, down from these numbers here. What I kind of estimate is basically that the payment amount that they're going to pay is based on the previous month's trading sessions. So if they're trading in February, they're doing their options contracts in February for, say, that 30-day time frame. The payment in March would reflect what the price action is. So if the price action is down in the previous month, then the payout will probably be down, and vice versa. So we'll take a look at a few of Tesla's underlying fundamentals here. You can see the market cap is under $1 trillion. We've said before that if any of these big or mega cap tech companies go over $1 trillion, they usually go higher with time. Apple is a good example of that. The beta is 2.09, which means it's twice as volatile as the S&P 500. The trading volume is between 88 to 116 million, so it's very heavily traded. You guys can see the short and midterm here is bearish. That's probably due to the price cuts in the Fed, but long term it's bullish. The earnings has actually been beat and or met every single quarter year to date. So the markets are kind of expecting the earnings to come in lower, but if it has a beat again, there's a pretty good chance it could pop to the upside. So it looks like the earnings date is going to be on October 17th. As you guys can see here on the financials, the revenue and the earnings of Tesla has grown literally year over year. So why people are bearish on this, I have no idea, but it literally just keeps going up. So that's a good sign. Analyst projections are basically somewhere between a buy and a hold. You can see all these here. You got mostly holds, some buys, and some strong buys. The lows at 23 bucks. I can pretty much tell you right now, I'm nearly 100% certain, not a guarantee, of course, that it's not going to go down to these levels. Reason being, as you guys can see on the charts, basically after the pandemic, Tesla hasn't really gone back to those levels. Okay, you got your low here, a high, a higher low, and then presumably at some point in time a higher high. So we got all that. The high would be 377 bucks, which is pretty much right in line with this resistance area. As much as or as high as 415. So there is that. Now, if we take a quick look at the financials, I don't want to get too deep into this, but just to give you guys some perspective on where Tesla's going, you can see that the total revenue year over year has gone up every single year by a pretty substantial amount. Cost of revenue has gone up. The gross profit has gone up substantially. You can see that the profit to revenue is roughly about a third to a fourth, so that's pretty good. Operating expenses has gone up, but not nearly as much as the total income and profit. The gross profit is about 3 times greater than the operating expenses, and the operating income is about a third less than the gross profit. So they're very, very profitable in terms of what they make and what they keep in the revenues. And so you got your EBITDA here. That's an important one. That's earnings before interest and taxes. You can see that number continues to grow up. Okay. So, and once again, the earnings have been beat every single quarter. So if we go back here from the monthly to the 4-hourly chart, I'm going to show you guys when the next earnings call is. The reason why the Tesla stock tanked was not because of the earnings. The earnings were actually really, really good. So trying to see here. Yeah, I believe this was the earnings. This was the Q2 earnings release. So as you guys can see, it had a major beat, 15% and plus 3%. But the earnings call was kind of bearish. They said they were going to do price cuts to basically offset demand destruction or demand slowing by the Fed, and the market didn't like it, so it kind of sold off. And there may be other mitigating factors too. I'm not sure what those might be at this time. We'll just have to wait and see. But the next earnings release is on October 18th. Here's the estimates. When it comes out, we'll make a video for you guys so you can see that. So I'm going to leave a few articles here for you guys to look at. This is Tesla shares dip after hours as earnings call disappoints. Key points here are that Tesla posted all-time high quarterly revenue, but margin dropped. Revenue from Tesla's core automotive business rose 46% year over year. That's about a 6.5% increase sequentially. Tesla's research and development costs also rose, and one of their biggest focuses is the AI development of their Dojo computer. As you can see here, the Dojo training computer is to basically self-perpetuate training in their AI systems. So you guys can go into the details of these and take a look at this for yourself. I'll leave this in the description for you guys to look at. Here is the earnings call transcript if you guys are curious. So Elon Musk is having a conversation with somebody here. I'm not really sure who it is, but let's actually take a look at who this is. So he's the vice president of investor relations of something, maybe perhaps Tesla. I'm honestly not sure. But you guys can take a look at this if you want to. I will leave this in the description as well. I would read this off to you guys, but unfortunately, I can only make so long of a video, so I'm gonna kind of keep it a little bit short and concise here. So here's another article. Tesla shares closed down 5% after price cuts. Model 3 refresh. So you can see that it says here that Tesla shares dropped 5% after a spat of price cuts on inventory cars in the US. If we actually go to Tesla.com here, click on a few of their vehicles. Now, I'm not going to buy a Tesla, just so you guys know, because I mean they're pretty expensive. They're not cheap by any means, even after the price cuts. But as you guys can see here, the prices are a little bit cheaper. I'm pretty sure these prices used to be around. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the prices used to be much higher than this. They were like at 90 to 120,000. So it may not be the first price cut, but I'm honestly not entirely sure. So you guys can see here on the Model 3 that well, it's actually really affordable. Honestly, I don't remember these prices ever being this low, so I'm pretty sure they did have some price cuts. So here's another thing. Tesla buys Bitcoin, or 1.5 billion in Bitcoin, and plans to accept it as payment. This was basically this was after the halving, but before the largest part of the Bitcoin bull run. So Bitcoin really started taking off in like November, December of 2020. And at that point, it was starting to rip to the moon, and Tesla accepted it as payment for basically buying their vehicles. So it says Tesla announced in an SEC filing Monday that it has bought 1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. You guys can read into this into your own time if you want to, but so yeah, they are interested in cryptocurrency. There's a lot of companies right now talking about Bitcoin and wanting to do spot Bitcoin ETFs and stuff like that. I've mentioned it before, like BlackRock and Fidelity and ARK Invest and those type of people. So we're going to take a look at one more metric here. So I got to switch this chart to the TSLY chart. We're going to move this tab over here so you guys can see what I'm about to be talking about here. So we'll move this actually to the, not the 2 week, we want the weekly. So scroll out a little bit. And we're going to switch Tesla to the weekly. So why am I bringing this up? Well, this can give you guys kind of some correlation of what to expect in terms of dividend payments. So let's assume that the prior month of trading is what determines the front month of payouts. So again, if they're trading for March and February, then the price action in February is going to reflect the payment in March. Okay. So I'm just going to take a couple months here as an example. So we'll do January's payment. So December would have been basically the trading for January. So you got December here. As you guys can see, January was pretty bullish. We had a nice pop up here of roughly about 50 to 60%. And it reflects in the price action here. You can see that TSLY also moved up quite a bit. So if they were trading December's price action for January's payout, then that would explain why the dividend was higher up. Now let's take a look at something like May, where they only paid 44 cents. So we got to take a look at April's price action. So April, you guys can basically see from April down to the lows here, we had about a 25% drop. And again, this does reflect on the price action of TSLY, the ETF. As you guys can see, we also had pretty much about a similar percent drop. So it is true that about 100% of the downside is felt. And as a result of April's price action, May came in a little bit under in terms of the payment amount. So it's possible that October's payment amount could be low as well. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll see if this rings true. But in terms of TSLY, guys, they're profitable year over year. The stock has only ever gone up over time. As you can see, it just keeps pushing up to new higher lows and higher highs. The company is just simply growing, and they're cutting their prices so that they can basically achieve mass adoption in terms of being able to sell their electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles, robo-taxis, and things like that. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.